So I'd really rather just recognize a couple of the many VIPs we have here tonight. Number one would be the one brother that's not celebrating his retirement tonight, but he's celebrating a birthday this weekend, my brother Jack. Happy birthday. I'd like to recognize has been with me all these many years, through thick and thin, encouraging me along the way. Pretty tough job to do.
Thanks, Dan.
She's always there for me, and she is very definitely the rainbow in my life, my beautiful wife, Lorraine. One last thing, I want to encourage you all to stay and enjoy the party. Don't leave early. Ted's promised me he doesn't have to be on the job site until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Thank you so much for your kind thoughts.
All right, we got 2 left to go. Bill, Ted, come on. Here comes the shy one.
You made a few words, as I have been for many years. It's hard to beat Dan's speech there. I certainly want to thank our mom and dad, my wife Marilyn, all my kids. I'm not sure why. Part of the reason I'm still working. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Certainly good to see some young faces here. Guys like Jack Kavanaugh. Dick Zimmerman, they said they want to have a party through the holidays, and I asked them if they're going to have coffee at the party. They said no. If they're going to have water at the party, they said no, and I said I'll be there. It's good to see a lot of people I haven't seen for a long time. But I have to tell a little story about, I was in Dublin a couple years ago in a bar called O'Shea's. And they had 2 brothers that owned this bar. Pat and Mike were their names, of course. I was just happened to be sitting in the back of the bar. There's 2 loudmouth guys at the bar. Shooting pool, having a good time. And the one guy said, man, I grew up in St. Martin's neighborhood. And I lived on a street called East Lawn. The other guy said to him, my God, that's a strange one, he said. I lived in East Lawn and went to St. Martin's also. And the one guy said, well, my mother's name was Helen. The other guy said, my mother's name was Helen too. These were strange. These guys had never seen each other before. Of course, he kept tipping the Guinness going on like Dennis Clark would. Having a good time. And the other brother said, well, what's your father's name? He said, well, my father's name is Edward. The other guy said, that's funny. My father's name is Edward too. We never met each other before. And just about this time, Pat was doing the bar work at the afternoon shift. Mike came in and said to Pat, he said, Pat, he said, is there any problems in here tonight? He said, oh, no, there's no problem at all. Just some Monahan brothers, Bill and Dan, having a good time as usual. Getting rid of me this quick here, dude. I've yet to begin to get my first win. I want to say happy birthday to my brother Jack, who will be 39 for a second time. Certainly wish his wife the best. And thanks to all our relatives, great friends, all the friendships I've made, and the people I've never argued with in all these years. I can't remember their names. Thanks for coming anyway. Enjoy yourselves tonight. I hope you have a good time.
Oh, Bill has a script.
It's tough to follow Mom's favorite. inordinately fond of recalling when you were young. Human nature, I guess, still it does seem that Jack, Ted, Dan, and I reached retirement in a surprising hurry. Could it possibly have been 48 years ago, next week, that I returned from Army service and presented myself to Dad and Jack for employment? They seemed a bit surprised to see me. At the time, Edward V. Monahan Company was domiciled at 395 East Lawn Avenue. The frame house Dad had constructed for his bride on the east side of Detroit in 1924. Our sister Ann, who is unfortunately not with us this evening, and her husband Jerry O'Mara owned the home, having purchased it from our parents when they relocated to Point Farms in 1950. Ann was a company bookkeeper at the time, and Jerry, a project superintendent out in the fresh air from the front. My recollection is that the company had a healthy cash balance when Ann was sitting on the checkbook. The girl originated the term controller. She and Dad were in total sync with the theory that the easiest way to save money was not to spend it. Every Thursday night, Jack and I would meet in the attic office to work out the payroll for the week. The numbers were small enough to make it a simple task. Once we got past calculating the weekly credit accrued by 24-year-old Santee Cook and his 7 dependents. We sped through the task, though, all of us stopping on our way home at Captain Shumway's on the corner of Alder Road and Jefferson for a corporate future planning session. Only thing that slowed us down was waiting for Honey Ann, and we always called her Honey Ann. That was my dad originated that. Or it may have been one of her children. Waiting for Honey Ann to finish the bedtime baths for Jay and Kathy so she could sign our checks. Come on, Honey Ann, Jerry can handle the pajamas. Fortunately, a new office building was in planning for the company. Our dad had selected a site, a great buy on the corner of Charlevoix and Ashland Avenues, which he pointed out had the advantage of allowing the company to retain its postal mailing zone. It took some time, but Jack, after the big picture man, prevailed with the selection of 17820 East Warren. That posh section of Grosse Pointe known as the Belgian, posh section of Detroit known as the Belgian Grosse Pointe. Examining the drawings, I sensed there may not be a lot of room at the top, even for a college graduate. Noting that they included only a single interior partition separating Dad's office from the garage. That space marked garage was a bit presumptuous, as it received the title a full 2 years before we purchased the first family, or the first company truck. Incidentally, we were next door to Mert Haygood in her one of her first positions of employment, certainly not her last.
Till I get it right, Bill.
And greatly enriched by it. In several years, Ted and Dan joined the team, and Edward V. Monahan Incorporated was in full pursuit of whatever the construction marketplace might present. The rest is history with a little mystery mixed in. EVM Inc. was and is unique, certainly, if there is any industry that can be called family-oriented. Construction is it. More often than not, if you're involved in construction, a quick search of your lineage will reveal a close relative, father, uncle, brother, who preceded you in the trade. But over the years, we rarely encountered even two brothers as partners, and nowhere find among our competitors, 4 brothers on a team. It was consistently our strength and always our pleasure. Working, we made our living. Working together, we made our lives. To witness our son's continuation of that miracle is an incalculable bonus. Edward Monahan and Helen O'Callaghan were an extraordinary pair. I expect that that sentiment is common with the majority of the persons in this room as they consider their own parents. Born and raised on 19th century Canadian farms, Dad, one of 6 brothers, Mom, the middle of 9 children, on their own with minimal education, little more than teenagers in strange, lonely cities. How were they able to accomplish what they did in the half-century of their partnership? Generations following theirs wring their hands over the uncertainty and challenge of our times. Try marrying in 1923 in the backwater of the Great War, during which Dad survived service with the American Expeditionary Forces in France. Starting with a small business in 1922, for the next 15 years, struggling against the tide of worldwide depression, only to be plunged again into the maelstrom of the Second World conflict and its contentious aftermath. Retirement was never their goal. Survival was the target. And greatness is what they achieved. They had the genes, they had each other, they had their parents, their siblings, and they had us. And when you think about it, what more do any of us need? Nellie O'Callaghan, our maternal grandmother, lived with us for the final years of her life. Born in the second year of the American Civil War, she died in 1953, an uncanonized saint in the eyes of all who knew her. Her effect on us, her grandchildren, sustains the 6 of us to this day. And by the way, we're privileged to have with us this evening Madeline O'Shea. Our mother's sister, Nellie and Dan O'Callaghan's surviving child. Madeline succeeded our sister, Anne, and served for 30 years as bookkeeping controller for the Edward B. Monahan Company. It is our distinct privilege to share this evening with her. Grandma O'Callaghan instilled in us the power of prayer and the certainty of faith. Darkness retreats at the touch of his hand. To the extent that we have been able to translate that truth to our own families, we have been true to her memory. I know the 6 of us were a matter of great pride to our parents. 2 beautiful daughters, Anne and Patricia, always loyal and loving. 4 sons, standing with the father in the continuance of his dream. Curiously, Anne, who lives in Rochester Hills, is not with us tonight. She is in Jensen Beach, Florida, with her husband, Jerry, settling in a new apartment. Pat, who lives in Keep Colony Beach, Florida, did make the trip.
Yay.
Is on hand with 2 of her 5 Carol and Susan. The program says it's our party, but both of them are a huge part of it. Mom and Dad also love their sons and daughters-in-law and doted on each of their 32 grandchildren. And I have to say, as an aside, Peggy and I recently attended the 50th reunion of the class of '52 at Elliott College, and they introduced us as having 14 grandchildren, and there was a huge silence in the room. But, you know, good for going to a private cottage. Confident that Mom and Dad are looking down this evening. They rarely miss a party. We think of them so often and revere their memories in the words of the Christian hymn. They were there to hear our boring cry. We did not let them die alone. This evening formalizes the closeout of the careers of Ted, Dan, and Bill, who with Jack joined in carrying Edward B. Monahan 3/4 of the distance to its centenary. We could not have begun to make the trip without the extraordinary good fortune of having been wildly blessed in our choice of mates. Barbara, who's not with us this evening due to an unfortunate accident, Mrs. John F. Monahan. Marilyn.
Hey.
Mrs. Edward J. Monahan. Lorraine.
Hey.
Mrs. Daniel J. Monahan, and my own Peggy.
Yeah.
Whatever the four of us have accomplished, none of it could have happened without the support and sacrifice of these amazing girls. Such wonderful life partners. Surely this evening is goodbye, but it is in no sense epitaph. We all plan on being around for the 100th. We learned a lot from Dad, even to the point of constructing our own dynasty. It's our privilege to introduce with pride the Blood Team, pledged to carry out the firm to the century mark in the year 2002, a brief 210 months from now. Michael J. Monahan, who's at the podium here. President of Monahan. John P. Monahan. Those are Jack's two sons. My two sons, W. Dan Monahan. Joseph A. Monahan. Ted's sons, we have a big set of shoes. Michael P. Controller in the Honey Ann tradition.
Very much.
And Kevin C. Daniel J. Monahan, son of his illustrious predecessor, the same. 7 young men and their families, sons, nephews, cousins, in whom we take enormous pride. They are in no way novices. Each, in his own way, brings experience, ability, and ambition to their efforts. They are already career veterans in the industry. We are pleased to witness them carrying the company and its many components far beyond the modest mark we posted. They have our best wishes and sincere confidence for their continued success. We fully expect that they will arrive at the century mark with more than a few fourth-generation Monahans on board. Nothing would make us more proud. To all of you, friends who have been so much a part of our lives, we express our deepest gratification that you're joining us this evening. Please know the value that you place in your friendship and how much each of you, having been here, means to us. Thank you. Pleasure.
All right, Brad.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Monahans.
I just wanted to mention also one last thing, which is Kevin Monahan had a great part in setting up this party. The centerpieces.
Also, Bill Monahan will be running for Senate in 2 years. Just to let you know, this is his kickoff campaign. And we have one special treat. All right, Jack. You got a couple words here, Jack?
I'd just like to congratulate Bill on this wonderful piece of artistry. Fabulous. We're so impressed that so many of you good friends have agreed to come and share a party with us here. And I can recall when people would say, 4 brothers running a construction company, it'll never last. So we just decided to multiply that, and we're moving ahead. So thanks everybody for coming, and I can't have enough good words to say for Ted and Dan and Bill. It's been a great pleasure being with them and working with them and being friends. So thanks guys, and we'll continue that friendship.
All right.
There are a lot of stories I could tell, and if my sister were here, she could say a few more, I'm sure. I have one story, though, that perhaps might be fun to hear again, and that is, long before our older brother Jack went off to the war, he spent some time building a model airplane. And in that airplane, there was probably this big. We never saw the whole thing, or I don't remember seeing the whole thing because I was so much younger. However, the only thing I remember of that airplane was the wing. It was about this long. It was made out of balsa wood, and it was kind of rounded on the edges, and had little notches where the engines were. Do you remember that, Jack? I do, and I know Ted does. Because it was a perfect threatening agent for those bad boys. My mother would hold that in her hand, and she'd call it her airplane paddle. And it worked wonders for me. I never had to have it used on me, but but we all know who got it. Don't we, Ted? Say that Billy, because Billy was perfect. My sister would agree with that, I know. But Ted, he was an example for all of us. But out of that, and you know, I never knew what happened to that airplane paddle, but it worked. Out of all of that silliness, each one of them learned responsibility, love, care and concern for each other, and respectful behavior. And they passed that on to all their boys and their girls. It's a very prideful time for me to be a part of all this. They were a very prideful example of their parents, and their mom and dad would be so proud. Bill and Ted and Dan and Jack are all my brothers. But they're a lot more than that. They're my friends. And I love them very much.